For Engineering Services General Studies video lectures, visit www.iesgeneralstudies.com. For Mechanical Engineering video lectures and question and answers discussion, visit www.gatemech.com.
Assertion and a reasoning type of question is a common model of question asked in the ESE exam. So in last year paper and this year paper also, this type of questions were there. What is meant by assertion and reasoning? Assertion is a statement which states a fact, and reasoning statement justifies this fact, why and how it is so. So in a question there will be two statements, statement first and statement second. Statement first is assertion and statement second is the reason. And we have to answer given the codes A, B, C, D will be given. Here we have to check two things, whether this statement first and statement 2 are individually true. So the first check in this kind of question is you have to check whether statement 1 is true and statement second is true. If both of them are true, then you have to check whether the second statement explains the first statement, whether this assertion is reasoned by the statement. If it is so, you have to select the option A. Option A means statement first and second are individually true and second forms the reason for the first statement. And the option B, if both are true but there is no connection between them, they are independent true statements. It does not form the reason for the first statement. You have to select option C if first statement is true but second statement is false. And you have to select option D if first statement is not true and second statement is true. So you have to follow the code for this type of questions. This will be given before the set of questions. And this year there was 20 questions from this model. It is not a small number. So it shows the importance of this kind of questions in the exam. And in ISGS test series, we have given this type of questions invariably, and also in daily quizzes we tried to include this kind of assertion and reasoning questions so as to make you practice for attending this kind of questions. And this year particularly these questions were relatively tricky. There were chances of confusion in opting especially between answer A and B in this year question. So you would be very careful in answering this kind of questions. Question 83. Statement 1. Volcanic eruption is often accompanied by earthquakes. Statement 2. Volcanoes erupt dust particles in the atmosphere. So here is the assertion and the reasoning question. Statement first and statement second. Statement first tells that volcanic eruption is often accompanied by earthquakes. It is true, right? There can be earthquake associated with volcanic eruption. Second statement tells that volcanoes erupt dust particles in the atmosphere. This is also true. Volcanoes erupt gases, lava and dust particles also. So is this emission of dust particle the reason for earthquakes? No. The reason for earthquake is different because of the crustal movements. So here the code will be B, right? Both the statements are independently true, but second statement does not form the reason for the first statement, right? So the option will be B. Question 87. Statement 1. Green energy refers to one which does not harm the ecosystem of planet Earth. Statement 2. All renewable energy is green energy. Here the first statement tells about green energy. We know that what is green? Whatever the things we are mentioning with the green means that it is not harmful to the ecosystem. So this statement is true. And second statement tells that all renewable energy is green energy. So we have to examine this statement whether all renewable energy is green energy. What is meant by renewable energy? Renewable energy is defined as which sources are replenishable. Which means that this replenishable rate is higher than the rate that we are consuming it. For example, solar energy or wind energy or even hydro energy, which are replenishable in nature, plus the waste should be environmentally manageable. So these two are the criteria for the renewable energy. What about green energy? Green energy is first statement that it should not be harmful to the environment. As per the US Environmental Protection Agency, they tells like green energy is a subset of the renewable energy, which means that all renewable energy may not be green, right? For example, if you take large hydropower projects, even though they are replenishable and there are no waste products, but they cause flooding of the forest area or agricultural land or habitable land, and this inundation releases methane emissions, and inundations create loss of habitat for the wild animals, and it may cause replacement of the human settlements also. So it is not a harmless activity. It has some environmental consequences. So the second statement cannot be true. It will be false. For example, in our energy scenario also, our government considers when they classify the renewable energy, they will specially mention like hydropower less than 25 watt capacity, like small hydropower, large hydropower, like that. Different categories are there when our government also releasing data about our energy production. So we can tell that this second statement is false. So the option could be C. C will be the answer. First is true and second is false. Question 89. Statement 1. Normally carbon dioxide is not considered an air pollutant. Statement 2. Carbon dioxide is a constituent of atmospheric air. So here also assertion and reasoning question. Statement first tells that normally carbon dioxide is not considered an air pollutant. And the second statement tells that carbon dioxide is a normal constituent of the air. So what are pollutants? Pollutants are defined as those which are harmful to the environment and are not usually present in the environment. Not usually present. So in the air pollutant calculation, we will normally consider the gases like nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, ozone, and particulate matters like PM 2.5, PM 10, and ammonia gas also. So in our air quality index, 7 components are there: PM 2.5, PM 10, Ammonia, nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide and oxygen. Carbon dioxide is not included as a pollutant. It is because we know that carbon dioxide is a constituent of the atmospheric air along with nitrogen, oxygen. Carbon dioxide is we need in the atmosphere, so it cannot be considered as a pollutant. This means that option first is true and option second is also, statement second is also true, and the statement second forms the reason for the statement first. So the answer is A. Question 88, statement first. To practice terraced cultivation in hilltops, it can be admissible to have the vertical face of the terraced boundary run perpendicular to the ground trace of the fault line, if any, in the underlying land. Statement second. Fault lines are susceptible to slips and should be guarded against in land use. So here the first statement tells that during terraced cultivation, how the vertical face should be made. And second statement tells about the fault lines. What is mean by fault line? Fault line is the places there is chances of tectonic movements, crustal movements. So if you are building the terraced cultivation along this fault line, there is chance that the land will slip here. But if we make the land vertical face perpendicular to the slip line, it may prevent the slippage. So that we should not align our contour with the fault line. That is one of the precautions to prevent the landslides and land slippages. We have to understand the underlying fault lines when we are taking up any construction in the sloped region. So the first statement is correct and second statement is correct, and second statement explains why the first statement should be followed. So the option is A.
For Engineering Services General Studies video lectures, visit www.iesgeneralstudies.com. For Mechanical Engineering video lectures and question and answer discussion, visit www.getnet.com.